Hey guys, welcome back to my kitchen and the truffle extravaganza. Right now I'm going to be making coffee truffles. I'm from Seattle, so I think I would be disowned by a lot of people if I didn't make coffee truffles. So yeah, it should be fairly easy, and let's just get right onto it. Okay guys, here we go. I weighed out 9 ounces of milk chocolate chips. I'm using the Ghirardelli ones because they're really good. In my little pan here, I have 5 tablespoons of heavy cream, 2 tablespoons of Khloe. If you don't want to use Khloe, you can just use brewed coffee, just make it strong. And then in this little dish, I have 1 tablespoon of instant coffee. And I'm just going to heat up my cream and Khloe mixture just until it starts to bubble. You want to be very careful when you're heating up cream or milk that you don't burn it, which can be very easy to do. So you want to do it over medium to low heat, and just keep an eye on it. For now, I'm just mixing up all that Khloe into there. Look at the lovely latte color. A cool variation on this particular truffle, if you wanted to do like a latte truffle, instead of using the milk chocolate for the ganache, which is the filling, you could use white chocolate, and I think that would be really good as well. So I'm just gonna get this bubbling, and then I'll come back for the next step. Okay, my cream just started to bubble, so I'm gonna dump in my instant coffee and mix that all in. I want to do this in the cream because I want all those coffee crystals to dissolve and get thoroughly mixed in. Ooh, this smells really good. And now I can take this and pour it over my chocolate. And start stirring that together, and the hot cream will melt the chocolate and get it all incorporated together. That's a lot of chocolate for that little bit of cream. I may have to stick this in a microwave. Yeah, I'm just gonna microwave this for like 30 seconds. Okay, yeah, that's much better. It was gonna take me 900 years to get that all incorporated if I didn't microwave that. So I'm just going to stir this for a good long while until you can see the color. Hopefully it's showing up on camera. The color is a little bit streaky. I want to make sure all of that goes away. I want it to be really consistent in color and texture, which has not taken long at all. Now hopefully you can see that it's all one color, looking good. And I'm just going to scrape off my spatula into there. And I'm just going to set this whole Pyrex cup in the fridge. I want this to cool thoroughly so that when we're ready to roll it into balls, it'll hold its shape. And so I'm probably going to leave it in the fridge for at least 2 hours. Okay guys, here's our coffee filling. I'm about ready to roll it. But when I took it out of the fridge, it was a tad too firm to really like scoop out. And so I just put it in the microwave for 10 seconds and then kind of poked at it with a fork. And it seems like it's good now. It seems like it'll hold its shape still and everything. I've just got a teaspoon here that I'm going to use to scoop the stuff out. And now it's a good consistency that I can roll it the heat from my hands will warm it up a little bit too, which will help too. I think if I were to make this recipe again, I would use maybe 1 more tablespoon of cream, because this ganache recipe was almost exactly like the one for what flavor did I do yesterday? The raspberry. It was almost exactly the same, like, proportions of things, but it actually had a little less cream. It had like 1 tablespoon less cream for this one. So I would go ahead and do that extra tablespoon. I will make a note of that down below in the description as well. That will just make it a consistency that's a little easier to work with, or just don't chill it super long. I don't know. I think the little extra cream would really be all you need, but this is fine. I really got it warmed up to just about room temperature, and as you can see, it's rolling nicely. It's heating up a little bit in my hands and melting just the slightest bit. That's okay, that's actually helping me roll it, and it will work out just fine. Okay guys, our coffee truffle filling is all rolled onto 2 separate trays. I'm gonna stick this in the freezer. I want these ones to get really quite cold before I start to dip them. Not frozen solid, but pretty cold, because the filling was melting in my hands as I was rolling it just from my body temperature. So when I dip it into the melted chocolate, it's gonna melt pretty quick. So I want them to be quite cold so that the chocolate has as much of a chance to solidify on there as possible. So I'm probably gonna leave these in the freezer for a good 15 to 20 minutes before I even attempt to start dipping these. So I am gonna put these in the freezer right now, and I will come back and show you the next step. Okay guys, I've got my mocha truffles ready to dip here. Ooh, let me get a new fork because this one's a disaster. These are real cold because I had them in the freezer for probably half an hour. I went and moved my laundry around and got something to eat. So they're nice and cold. We'll give the chocolate a long time to solidify and hopefully not melt the filling too much. I'm dipping these in milk chocolate. You could definitely use dark or semi-sweet if that's your preference. I'm using milk because, I'm sorry if you can hear some like rattling around out there. My neighbor's rolling around his garbage cans. I'm using milk because coffee is a strong flavor in and of itself, and it already has some bitter notes to it, and so does dark chocolate. And so I didn't want to put like bitter on bitter. I'm also a super taster, so I'm very sensitive to like bitter flavors. So I think if I did the coffee with the dark chocolate, it would just be too much for me, and I wouldn't like it. So I'm just gonna give all of these babies a little dip, and then we'll be back for the next step. So here's my first round of the mocha truffles that I dipped, and the chocolate really went on quite thick, thicker than I was expecting it to, so I'm not gonna double dip these ones. The other half I dusted with this coffee powder. I basically just took instant coffee, put it through my coffee grinder until I got powder, and I dusted the other half of the truffles with those. But these ones I'm just going to stick a coffee bean on, and I'm just going to take a drop of my melted milk chocolate drop it on there, and then kind of use it as a glue and stick the coffee bean on. I could have done this before the chocolate from dipping had a chance to set, but I didn't I was planning on double dipping these. I didn't realize it was gonna kind of be so thick. So this is just another option of a way to decorate your coffee truffles. And you know, if you don't want to eat the coffee bean, you could pick it off. That's no big deal. But I think it does look kind of cool. So there we go, and I'm just going to stick those back in the freezer and just allow that to fully set up, and then I'll be back for a taste test. Okay guys, here is our 2 differently decorated coffee truffles, one with the coffee bean and one with the powdered instant coffee on the top. I'm really excited to try these because the filling smells amazing. So I'm just going to try the one with the coffee, the ground coffee. Yum. My mouth is probably all brown right now. That's so good. I was worried there actually wasn't going to be enough coffee in the filling, but there is. It's great. It's not too much. It's not too little. It's not overpowered by the chocolate. And if you like a really strong coffee flavor, you can use the coffee like dust. If you don't like it so much, you can just use the coffee bean. It just has a little decoration. That's really delicious. I highly recommend you make that. So I'm not exactly sure what order these are going to come out in, but my next 2 videos to film will be s'mores and peanut butter truffles. So make sure you guys are subscribed so you don't miss those, and I will see you in the next one.